All right, folks, so today I'm going to be walking around and looking inside this 2021 Supra 3.0 Premium. This is a very, very nice vehicle, and I wanted to take a look at it. I'm not like a boy racer, sport racer guy, but I was a kid in the 90s and I loved the Supras, and I didn't see a ton of them or know about them because the internet really wasn't that big. But in the early 2000s, you knew about those twin turbo Supras racing Hayabusa like motorcycles, and that just blew me away that they were able to keep up. But this is a vehicle it's just beautiful all the way around. I like the back of the vehicle. You can tell it is a sports car through and through. Has a single exhaust here. It's turbocharged. I love that large diameter exhaust pipe there. This vehicle sits low. Tracks are wider in this vehicle, so it widens at the back. It's definitely that shoe shape that you want to have in a sports car, and it's a two-seater. I love the two-tone coloring on this. I love the headlights. I love the DRL. I love the intake. I love how the headlights are jeweled. It's wide. It kind of reminds me of an LC a little bit, LC 500. And a couple other vehicles, if I'm being honest. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but it has these massive wheels on it. And so really this kind of takes me back, down memory lane. I mean, these wheels look massive, but these are 19s, but this is a small, low-sitting vehicle. So these look humongous on this vehicle. And I think kind of what happened to this vehicle, here's what I'll say. Like, the original Supra was a very intentional sports car. And it had a 3-liter engine, an inline, and you can get it twin turbo. But it organically gained popularity because it was so well designed and it performed so well. So people chose to buy that one. And I feel like people felt like they had to check this out. I have to get this because it's, a reintroduction of an old classic. And what eventually this vehicle turned out to be was a remake of a classic movie. And you really just can't do that sometimes. The budget's just not there. When they made the movie, things were cheaper to kind of get away with and to build. And I think that's what happened with Toyota. They were smart and said, hey, we can't build this from the ground up. We're not going to build an inline 6-cylinder engine and spend billions of dollars, and the return may not be there. And it's not the 90s anymore. So SUVs are in and they're here to stay. But we're going to go ahead and hop in the driver's seat here. Well, actually, we'll pop the hood first. I do like this carbon fiber cap here, and I do like this turn signal indicator at night. That looks super dope because when this is dark like this, especially when it's blacked out here, it just looks like a laser pulsing, which is dope. You do have frameless window glass here, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I completely understand in a vehicle like this. You have memory seats in this vehicle. You have, the Supra kick plate right here. This is soft touch. It's really not about the doors and the design of the doors, but I'll just point this out anyway. You have a tweeter here, mid-range here. These feel very tactile. This is very straightforward. Hopping in this vehicle, not as hard as it looks. Like, you're definitely sitting low, but I'm going to be honest. Like, when I hop in this vehicle, I don't feel like I'm sitting on the floor like I used to in the early 2000s Prelude. The seats are definitely kind of racy inspired. They taper coming up to the top. They hold you in place. They're not as bolstered as I thought they would be. You feel like you're sitting recessed, but not as much as I thought it would be. I mean, you can kind of see over the hood, but you have automatic headlights, you have your dimmer switch here, radar cruise control, you have backup sensors and all that. You obviously have paddles. They feel very tactile and stuff. This is a traditional paddle that you would feel on any kind of car, like an Audi, BMW. It's not metal or anything like that. Honestly, the steering wheel does not feel special at all. Like, if you took the steering wheel out and put this in like a Camry XSE, I believe you. I'm just being honest. Like I'm literally shocked this is not a flat bottom steering wheel. You do have heated seats. Like all this stuff is straightforward. The radio is loud. It's going to cut off to save battery. This is nice. So one of the things that you realize when you hop into a Supra is that you are still sitting in a Toyota. Like the Supra has supercar, legendary supercar status. So you kind of expect certain things in a newer iteration, but that's not the case. It's still a Toyota. You do have a digital display here, and you do have, ooh, let me get this out the sun. Your RPM gauge is right here, which is really what you want. You want to rev this car out. You have an electronic parking brake. Your auto stop start is there. Your sport mode is here. You know, I'm not mad at this selector here. You have this carbon fiber inlay. You have a charge port right here. And then you have wireless charging here. This screen is very, very nice, straightforward. I like that you have a black, you know, headliner. You have nothing behind you. But power going to those rear wheels, which I love. The cup holders here are in a good place, but you're not gonna have cups in here and put your arm down here. I would love to have like metallic grating in the pedals. Stepping out of this vehicle, it's not like impractical. So you can use this vehicle as a daily. So, all right, so it looks like we have some spare parts back here, which is cool. But yeah, this is what you're working with. Like you could fit a full-size suitcase back here or like a carry-on and a book bag. So it's not completely, you know, impractical. Okay, so there's not gonna be much of anything under there. And that's basically your trunk. You do have a release here. It does say GR on the back. I like that you have your reverse light back here. It's just funny, when I hopped in this vehicle, I forgot it was a Toyota. I hopped in it and I expected it to be a Supra, but to feel like a BMW 7 Series. So this hood is not the smallest hood. You know, it kind of comes over like a clamshell, even though it's not, because it doesn't come to the edge of the vehicle. But here is your engine here. So this is an inline 6-cylinder engine. Like if you take this cover off, you'll have, you know, 6 in a row right there. It's 3 liters, it's turbocharged. You are not going to be doing any work to this engine. Remember, this is a BMW engine and design, and I'm honestly not mad at that. Like this engine produces 382 horsepower and 368 pound-feet of torque. So like back in the day, like in the 90s, like 30 years ago, the twin turbo V6 put out like 300 horsepower and like, I don't know, a similar amount of torque. Just with the engineering today, it has a more linear power output, so it's more consistent. This one has an 8-speed automatic transmission, so that's going to help with power and that's going to help with fuel economy, even though that's not really a concern. This vehicle's quick, but it's not mind-blowing. And if you recall the 90s, you had to tune those vehicles. They didn't come from the factory with 500, 600, 700 horsepower. They were definitely, you know, about 300 horsepower, and that's the top end. And then, you know, 5, 6, 7 years later, people would tune them and put these massive turbos. And the thing was, that 3-liter engine was very robust, very tunable. And so that's what kind of made this vehicle legendary. It wasn't that it was stock 700 horsepower like a Hellcat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking this walk down memory lane with me. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the video up here by saying this. I think this Supra is a great vehicle. It just does not stand out like it did in the early to mid 90s. I mean, this vehicle in those times was faster than all its contemporary fast cars like the Corvette, a Porsche 928, the Nissan 300ZX. So there's so many other vehicles out now like the Hellcat and Teslas and things like that, that it really kind of struggled to make the same impact, but a great vehicle nonetheless. I'll catch you in the next video.